Napoleon's miscalculations and the timely arrival of Prussian reinforcements led to his defeat at Waterloo. This decisive loss marked the end of his rule, compelling him to abdicate and ultimately face exile on the remote island of St. Helena.
When someone mentions Napoleon, you know they're either talking about dynamite or Bonaparte. And in this, we'll be talking about the French one. So if you wanted to hear about dynamite, sorry. But now, let's make our way on to the video. Ridley Scott's Napoleon might have received mediocre reviews, but historians absolutely despised it, pointing out multiple inaccuracies. But there's one thing that the film got right that some of you might know. Napoleon's height. While yes, he was a short king, he was about 4 inches taller than what we might believe. A more modest 5'6". So why do we all think he's 5'2" and tiny? Well, it says he is, but he wasn't. See, according to history.com, on his death certificate, his height is 5'2". But back then, the French inch was smaller than the one we know now, causing the confusion. And if there's anything that guys hate, it's being told they're shorter than they actually are. Not that he can do anything about it. I mean, he's not very much not alive. There's a reason why dating app heights are always wrong. I mean, can you blame us? There's another reason why people also believe that he was 5'2". This guy, look at him right here. His name, James Gilray. And he loved drawing Napoleon tiny to make fun of him and the French, and it worked. So good job, Mr. Gilray, because to this day, you've confused millions, and a whole bunch of people think that Napoleon was this tiny little dude. He really wasn't. He was average height. We know about Napoleon's potential love life, but less about some rather unique feelings he had towards women. The things we have learned, however, are what nowadays would likely be classified under the category of yikes. But he had his reasons, kind of, maybe? First up, if you were a woman wearing clothing Napoleon didn't approve of, he'd straight up just ruin your clothes. Like he'd take food and just yeet, spill food all over it. But he did it for a kind of good reason, because if he ruined your clothes, you would have to support local textile industries. And you couldn't wear British fashion. So he did it for the right reasons? I guess, maybe, kind of, which means he was great to women, right? Wrong. The Code Napoleon significantly restricted the rights of women, including significantly limited rights for handling money unless they were traders. So it makes you wonder, did his controversial opinions on women affect his wife Josephine at all? Well, so here's the thing, it very well could have, but Josephine probably had other things on her mind before she married Napoleon. His views maybe affected her, but I think it was more, oh my god, I didn't get guillotined. See, that was nearly her fate, as that's how her first husband Alexandre de Beauharnais met his end during the Reign of Terror, and Josephine was supposed to join him, being imprisoned and scheduled for head removal duty before being released 5 days before schedule. So we can thank the Reign of Terror's Robespierre for setting up Napoleon and Josephine in a way, as his getting guillotined led to her release. So thanks for losing your head, I guess. There's a reason Napoleon isn't remembered as a military tactician and a singer, because he was really good at one and horrible at the other. And I'll let you guess which is which. Yeah, he was a horrible singer. He was notoriously tone deaf, often humming when agitated, but he was so bad at humming and singing, it would actually agitate those around him. And we have proof of this via a testament from Betsy Balcombe, a former friend of Napoleon. These are Betsy's words. I mean, they were probably in French, but Napoleon's voice was most unmusical, nor do I think he had any ear for music. For neither on this occasion, nor in any of his subsequent attempts at singing could I ever discover what tune it was he was executing. Yikes. Stick to your day job, buddy. And she was with him on St. Helena. Yeah, that's a lot of bad singing to put up with. Napoleon was always thinking, sometimes too much. But one idea that he had was to keep a vial of poison around his neck. That way, if he was ever captured, it could go down the hatchet and he wouldn't have to put up with the inevitable torture his capturers would have him face. Only problem with that is that what he didn't know is that when time goes on, poison's potency wanes. So by the time he attempted to drink it in 1814, following his exile to Elba, it didn't do its job. Well, I mean, it maybe kinda sort of did, because he got violently ill, but didn't, take the next step? I'm sure he had a whole lot of time to think about the chemistry of his poison while in exile, and hum poorly, but yeah, you gotta learn about poison, Napoleon. So we all know he got ill from that poison, and that he passed away at 51, but the two happened pretty far apart. In fact, Napoleon's cause of death still hasn't officially been confirmed. On his death certificate, yes, the same one that listed him as 5'2", his cause of death is listed as stomach cancer, but some think that's not the full story. There's a whole bunch of theories that he was in fact poisoned, mainly because samples of his hair showed a higher than usual amount of arsenic. Could it be related to his past attempt? Was it part of his bedroom wallpaper, which contained arsenic, according to some people? Or was it ninjas? It could have been 1800s ninjas. We'll never know, unless we make a time machine. And if anyone has one, let me know. I got things to do, and I got people to see. There's a couple of things Napoleon and I have in common. No, not the height. I'm 6 foot tall. Ish. But I will give you a hint about our similarity. Le français n'est pas notre langue maternelle, or something like that. In English, French isn't our first language. See, Napoleon was born on the island of Corsica, and because of that, he spoke only the local language for the majority of his childhood, until he enrolled in a French school around the age of 10, so because of that, he spoke the language with a very thick accent. And in the book Napoleon, a biography, it states he never actually mastered French, and always spoke with an Italian accent, pronouncing certain words as if they obeyed the Italian rules of phonetics, whatever that means. Sacré bleu. Now Napoleon wasn't just a little stitious, he was superstitious. Yes, another height joke, sue me. But according to the National Gallery of Victoria, he'd believe that some people were destined for bad luck, and would ask generals if certain people around him were lucky. I mean, if a person isn't lucky, you don't want them near you. Makes sense. But, and possibly the cutest thing ever, he actually carried a photo of Josephine with him, and if he dropped it or it was damaged, he saw it as a sign of bad luck. And after his return from exile on Elba, after her passing, he picked violets, her favorite flower, from her garden and made a locket to remember her by. Man, he might have been harsh, but did he love his wife? Kudos to that. You get bonus points from me, Napoleon. Now this is kind of similar, but Napoleon had a whole bunch of weird habits, which aren't really known for one reason or another. Some of them are kind of embarrassing, but I'm here to let you know about a whole bunch of them. First up, he always wanted a lit fire and an extremely hot bath. Now I know some of you like hot showers, myself included, but the guy wanted them scalding. Why did he want his bath that hot? Because the hot water provided some relief from his incredibly painful hemorrhoids. Ow! And when he was bathing or doing anything really, doors had to be closed as he had a phobia of open doors. I mean, anyone can attack if a door is open, so if you wanted to enter his room or anywhere else he was in, you had to squeeze through a tiny opening and then shut the door behind you, which, if you're a ruler like he is, it's not a bad habit to have, I guess. Now this is so weird that it had to have its own point. Look at this little guy. Isn't it adorable? Look at it. Isn't it just the cutest? Not according to Napoleon. The guy was terrified of cats, apparently. See, people don't know how real this claim is, but other tyrants like Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan were also both afraid of felines. So I guess it maybe tracks? How can you be afraid of cats? According to some historians, he actually adopted a cat while on exile at Helena, so maybe this wasn't entirely accurate, but others believe that he was petrified of them. So now I'm imagining an enemy force with a battalion of cats forcing Napoleon to step down. Man, I would have been a great tactician, just needed an army of cats. Congrats, you made it through another B video. Thanks again for watching, make sure to leave a like, some comments, and maybe your favorite thing about Mr. Bonaparte, or why he's better than Dynamite, or if Dynamite's better. Let us know.